Okay, we should be back. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, the second we went offline, it came back. I don't even. But
anyway,
so a small hiccup there. Quick recap of the game, I guess, because I don't know when this cut out. We had a failed cannon rush out of Alicia. He didn't dedicate more than 2 pylons. Quickly canceled it. Revival takes a third. It's a very passive game since then. All you do is miss a very awkward banter about cannon rushes and SOS dancing like a goof.
And the fact that I totally called the Stargate. Just saying.
Okay, yeah, good call. Proud of you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks. But yeah, it is going to be an Oracle opener. The Oracle's going into the main base right now. It was scouted by Revival with an Overlord in position. I don't know, sometimes that Stargate positioning is like the best, and sometimes it is the worst. I mean, Revival's Overlord is like right there, but he didn't really plan on doing a whole lot of damage with it anyways.
For Alicia, I'm just trying to remember because it's actually been a while since I've seen him. I think because it was the week he won, I believe it was the week you and Fear Dragon did this, right?
Maybe? I don't know.
Because I'm just trying to think, it's actually been a while since I've seen Alicia play.
Yeah, well, it's always been a while. I kind of forgot that he won one, in fact, because it was like over a month ago, right?
Yeah, it was one of the earlier cups. Not to take anything away from it, because there's still lots of awesome Koreans in it, but the Void Ray follow-up, interesting. I guess he's expecting a big Roach attack. I mean, unless he's himself is going to be going for like that mass Void Ray style, but I don't know. I can't feel him doing it, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at everything he has seen, rather, for the with the Oracle, and he did actually see double Evo chambers, which you usually don't get if you go Roach Hydra or Roaches. Not until like later. You know, you get that +1 missile attack first, then later on you get the other upgrades that you want. But he is getting, well, an awful lot of gateways. This is probably just to use the production of 3 bases that he's pretty strong. Because I like a 3-base attack with like no upgrades. I don't know. How many does he have? 3 + 2. That's not that many.
I mean, you don't always follow up a Stargate with like a big all-in. It's something that is possible, and with +1 weapons, something I would say even encouraged.
It's 9.
He's got so many sentries, so
yeah, it's 9 gateways.
Yeah.
I mean, that is like an all-in amount off of 3 bases. Usually, though, we see +2 with Blink accompanied in this type of attack.
I like the choice to recall. He actually doesn't take in really any losses there. Burns a couple force fields, that really sucks. End of the day, keeps those sentries alive, and I think that's going to be the key point. Zealots warping in here will have +1, but those Zerglings do have the Carapace upgrade, so they kind of counteract and don't get 2 shots. Still's got to burn some more force fields if he wants to keep these alive, though. And this is not a situation he wants to recall out of. He's kept a good chunk of the probes alive through this retreat, and these Lings are starting to get minced up. For Revival's sake, I'm a little bit worried, though. He may be dedicating a little too much into this. He is on 86 drones with a gold base, so he's kind of able to do this. But if he finds himself with no army and Alicia counterattacks, you're going to get screwed by Larva more than your bank. Weird.
I thought for sure he must have definitely been saving up for a Spire. But then he did have an invitation, but I don't know. But he's going for Enduring Locusts and Swarm Hosts, and he has a humongous bank. He just hasn't really used yet, and that's why I thought he was going to go for the Mutas when the Spire was done. Yeah. But I guess with this attack coming, he figured it's not going to be as useful as getting a lot of Swarm Hosts.
I was kind of under that same impression too. I do like that he abandons the base though, keeps those drones alive, cancels everything there as well, so nothing hatches and dies. Smart moves here out of Revival. He's used up that bank now too, and well, we actually have a second Stargate coming out of Alicia here.
Yeah. Well, there have been certain styles that... well, he actually might still expect a Spire, so I'm not sure. I was going to talk about how, like, you know, sometimes we've seen people go for, like, actually, like, mass Void Rays and deal pretty well against Swarm Host players, simply because the Swarm Host player doesn't expect air that early anymore, so he doesn't really have anti-air, but I think this might just be because he saw the Spire and saw that it was only Lings up until now, and he hasn't seen the Swarm Host yet.
I mean, oddly enough, Void Rays will work out pretty well if that's the case. The Colossus transition's a little bit slower, but I mean, it's not like Alicia will find himself completely like without the tools to deal with this. Like, it's not like, oh, you want Swarm Host, I've got 30 Zealots, I'm dead. No, he's gonna be able to fight this off. Now, starting by denying that gold base was a pretty big deal. It's going to work out really nice as far as making sure that Revival doesn't sprout too far out of control. I just realized these names should have been swapped a long time ago. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, Blink Stalkers, we always see these used in such weird manners. Like with the army right now, this is fine. But I feel like it's that desperation time after you've lost your army and you're like, screw it, I gotta keep these stalkers alive and do as much damage as possible. We see the best effective use out of them. Blinking around, dodging through everything, jumping up towards the main. I wish we would see more players execute that before losing the army.
Nope, poor stalker.
Nice
this actually would be dealt with. There we go, poor Stone. And he did recall to the third, so his army is there to meet a lot of lings. And it is a Muta follow-up after getting this one, huh? So kind of uncommon to see both techs. I mean, obviously they both are very expensive when it comes to gas. I don't know. It still seems like it could be very effective, though. I mean, you got like the Swarm Host in case that you know, after a while the Protoss says, well, like, you know, F you, I'm sick and tired of dealing with this, and they do push out. And if you have the Swarm Host there, well, then maybe it's not such a great idea.
Well, I'm wondering, do you think this would be something where we just see the Swarm Host used kind of defensively, and then it allows them to just micro his heart out with the mutas? That's kind of what I'm feeling here. Well,
that's what I was kind of trying to get to, and that, you know, defensive in case Alicia does push out with the Blink Stalkers, or with his entire army, either one. You know, because they will get fed up with dealing with mutas. That's just how ZVP goes sometimes, especially if they don't have a good Phoenix count before. And if they have a good Phoenix count, it gets a little trickier, but without it, it's usually forced into a base trade. Well, that is a lot of zealots.
Yeah, they could just focus the hive down, take that down really quick. Splitting their attention, though, will make the mutas take longer to clean them up. It's sad that he'll lose the warp prism for this, but he's pushing the middle of the map at the same time. Nice force fields to block up those locusts. Looks like he's not going to quite kill that fourth right away, but he should be able to execute it with a couple of Blink Stalkers. Meanwhile, zealots are finally cleaned up. And how many workers lost at the end of the day? Not too bad, 25.
I don't really got anything in the main other than the drones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's still, it's the went from 85 something drones down to 55. Stuck now with 5 bases. Got to get that drone count back up. But instead of just pumping all into army, I don't know if this is something he can really afford to do right now. Because if he does, this just becomes that all in for a Zerg player. You know, normally you want to have this massive bank behind it, and you get to throw away 1,000 lings because you've got so much income. But that's not really the case for Revival. So after losing those drones, I think he's realized, oh, I need to get some more up, and there we go. Starts producing again.
Those DTs were like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah, there's like 50 lings on top of them. Mutas into the main, though. Ooh, those cannons are not done yet, and they wouldn't have even stopped this many mutas anyways.
Did he overcharge? What did he? Oh, well, anyways, I guess because too many recalls, he doesn't have enough to actually overcharge more than once. Does overcharge the main just in time, apparently. Doesn't actually lose it.
Yeah, Phoenix has helped out with that quite a bit, too. DT's going to work. Takes out one hatchery up here in the top left. Should not... Wait, where's the Overseers? Here he goes.
They don't have one.
Yeah, he's got one.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Producing another one just in case.
Well, the hatchery will be low. We can finish this off pretty easily later on. Does need to clean up the overlords around his bases, though, too. He's playing well off of 3, but of course, that's going to sting. He's going to start it like this.
Yeah, he does have 2 other ones, though.
If he didn't have so many Blink Stalkers, I'd be a little more worried. But he does have a lot of Blink Stalkers on +2 upgrades. He's moving towards the Indian Pulse Crystals. This Colossus count, it's rather unfortunate, though, not getting much use at the moment.
Oh. I thought he made another Stargate on top of the 2 he already had, but I was mistaken. That one producing is the second one, so only 1 Phoenix for now.
His base is about to get zealoted pretty hard. There you go.
It's a bit over zealots. The amount of zealots that he gets, get it? Anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's
Zealots.
really good harass. Yeah, I know, zealous.
Where's Zealot Sam when you need him, right?
Good one.
The Phoenix count, I am a little bit worried about, though, because I mean, this is, you know, it's not Muta Corruptor. It's just a lot of mutas. He's gonna be dodging around and not looking to take a direct fight. Those Phoenixes are gonna have to be somewhere on the map other than AFK at home. It's just a lot of supply for Alicia that gets forced into possibly doing nothing just to tentatively keep these mutas from ending the game, or at least forcing out a base trade. So he's keeping it with the army. The main point of contention is going to be this main, though. I like the cannons, but 4 cannons still doesn't stop this many mutas.
Especially with the Nexus already so low. They could technically dive onto it, but not really willing to quite yet. Of course, with losing 2 bases, even though half of his army is Swarm Hosts, so he's not really losing out on that much money, in that part of his army anyways. He still doesn't have that big of a bank. Definitely not as much as you would want to comfortably like do something like snipe a Nexus or suicide on or something and be able to rebuild. And in fact, Alicia thinks that he has enough Phoenixes to take this on.
Oh, he's doing
microing them. There we
go. I was
go.
gonna say, yeah, he's got the annual pulse crystal upgrade. There's no reason he should be fighting in range of the mutas, but ducking in like this is a big mistake. He's throwing away a lot of Phoenixes for it. Starting to finally clean this up though. Already lost the Colossus though. So he doesn't have a way to fight those nasty locusts underneath this. I was about to compliment him, like he's doing a great job of denying bases, keeping revival only on 3. But man, did he just get swamped pretty hardcore.
Well, when you walk into that type of Zerg army, I don't know if there's any way that you don't get swamped. You know, maybe a couple of Archons would have really threatened Revival's grouping up of the mutas.
He had about 5 Colossus, in fairness, of going into that. So, I mean, it's not like he didn't have an account to keep the Locust back. I think the problem just came into, like, he wasn't expecting that much air to hit his Colossus so easy. But Mutas still got to be so careful. These Phoenixes can clean them up. The number's getting pretty freaking low.
Yeah, going mostly to Corruptor now. I mean, the whole thing was that I think Revival was actually targeting the Colossus, knowing that's, you know, that's what he had to do for the Locust to win out. You know, the Mutas would probably die out eventually to the Phoenixes, but even then, they had to be a ball for everything to work out for the Protoss, and it actually helped Revival a little bit. But
ooh, I'm not sure if Alicia. I think he needs to get that mothership going too.
Yeah, probably. We actually have a transition into Ultras. I mean, it's helpful no matter what, but only on 3 base for like 23 minutes. You gotta start figuring out what you do and don't need.
Well, really key thing too is he has been keeping up with melee upgrades behind this revival, that is. So it's not like he's just making this weird swap and hoping for the best. He has invested into these pretty nicely.
And I was just going to talk about how Alicia really didn't invest a lot into upgrades, as we would normally see from a Protoss player. I mean, they're always willing to get to +3 weapons, and then maybe everything else they don't get, but at least that +3 weapons. Alicia only goes up to 2-1, and then stops completely.
Gareth being helping with the Swarm host a little bit. Definitely a big annoyance, but the last couple of mutas are finally being corralled up. I mean, the Phoenixes are still going to have a role where they sit here and they kind of dogfight with the Corruptors. It's the Stalkers that really bring the damage to that party, of course, but again, kind of going back to the point of the mothership, whether it's Ultras, Corruptors, it doesn't matter. Like, if they can't see your army, they can't hit your army, and I do wish you would invest into this at some point.
Oh, the Ultras are a big surprise for Alicia. Now, Blinkstalkers aren't that bad if they can kite, but Colossus pretty bad. Phoenix obviously worthless.
Not blinking away. Ooh, what's up with that?
Well, I think he used a blink to just like retreat just like a couple of feet, and then was, you know, kind of blinked, but.
Oddly enough, these guys are going to trade out majority of their army for majority of the army. The thing is, like, they both lose a lot of the expensive units for it. It's just a lot easier for Revival to make 5 Ultras compared to, like, you know, 5 more Colossus. And normally you wouldn't even want Colossus at this stage. You want Immortals, but Alicia still has to worry about those locusts, those pesky locusts.
Yeah. I think this game probably went wrong once Alicia didn't really expand while killing Revival's expansions. I mean, the harassment was all really great. It kept Revival from really having too big of a bank, and he still doesn't, but that's because he just put a lot of Ultras. But he never had one of his own, you know? And I'm not quite sure why. I mean, the pressure was there. I mean, obviously mutas flying about are always going to be hard to deal with, but I feel like he could have tried to get this one off to the left a lot sooner.
Yeah, the mutas are gone. It wouldn't be too bad to invest in some Void Rays on top of this. I mean, he doesn't have the money for it because he's going for Immortals finally, but you know, they'd have dealt with Corruptors pretty well. They would have certainly helped with the Ultras. Oh, I mean, Immortals are going to be the ultimate anti-Ultra unit, no matter how you look at it, but still. Actually, well, these DT snuck in with the army here.
Yeah, I don't think the Revival noticed.
Oh, rip probes, rip probes.
That was just kind of a little bit of an odd composition for